Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
Rob, what is the Vatican keeping secret?
For their entire time that they've existed, they've collected manuscripts and relics and items from either campaigns or crusades, not only for their own research and to support their ideas, but also to prevent anything coming out. Because they need to control the information around biblical issues and biblical dogma, they can't allow alternative views to become public, become disseminated.
What kind of things exactly are you talking about?
In terms of documentation, they've got 52 miles of shelving of books and manuscripts alone. So that will be everything from early first century fragments to potentially entire alternative gospels.
And why would that be damaging to the Catholic Church?
Because there's the potential for alternative views to emerge. There were lots of different books originally that were set to go in the Bible, and it was only through a process of politics mainly that the final books were chosen. There are also ideas that there's a book of Q that academics have termed a book that would have been the source material for the main Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, because the main Gospels were written long after the time of Christ. So if they've got something like a book of Q, that would undermine everything else.
Because they need to control the narrative around biblical issues. If you need to control the narrative in order to maintain a proper footholding of your religion, then maybe your religion is faulty. I mean, I can't help but to think this. If you're really walking around speaking the truth and you've got the right path for everybody to follow, then you wouldn't be worried about what everybody else is saying or what other potential religious beliefs are out there, because you would know that you had the truth. I think that says quite a bit right there.
In 2003, German archaeologists announced a significant discovery in Iraq and what they believed to be the tomb of the legendary King Gilgamesh, a central figure in the ancient Sumerian epic bearing his name. Just 5 months later, Iraq was invaded by the United States. Amidst the ensuing conflict, the Iraq National Museum in Baghdad was looted. This looting wasn't a random act of chaos. It appeared to be a well-coordinated operation, employing shaped charges and other professional techniques. Thousands of invaluable artifacts, including those with potential connections to the Anunnaki, were stolen. The figure of Gilgamesh is often depicted as a giant in ancient texts. Interestingly, there are modern accounts of soldiers encountering giant figures in the Middle Eastern deserts, sparking further speculation about the connections between ancient myths and contemporary events. Following the invasion, the U.S. military established a base in the ancient city of Babylon. This presence led to the destruction of some historical artifacts, and numerous items were taken from the site. It is widely believed that the military was searching for something of significant historical and possibly esoteric value. The city of Nimrud was founded more than 3,300 years ago. It was one of the capitals of the Assyrian Empire. The Iraqi government has confirmed that the site was attacked by armed extremists using bulldozers on the 5th of March, 2015. Why would so many powerful entities and governments go to such lengths to acquire or destroy these ancient Sumerian artifacts? What secrets could these relics hold? Are we on the brink of uncovering advanced technologies from a forgotten era? Or perhaps the remnants of a stargate capable of bridging worlds? Could these artifacts be linked to the technology of the Anunnaki? Or even the legendary Nephilim? The answers remain hidden beneath the sands of time. In the end, we are left to ponder. What truths lie within these ancient artifacts? And why do they hold such a profound and enduring allure?
A lot of people are probably not familiar with this, but did you know that during the WikiLeaks email dump with the Hillary Clinton emails, there were actually emails in there where they were discussing Gilgamesh and the Resurrection Chamber and her desire to go and view it. So regardless of what they claim, they do see importance in these sites, and I think that's very telling. The fact that we're so often told, look the other way, there's nothing to see here, yet at the same time, they're also curious about this stuff and wanting to go and dig and research. It's just frustrating because they're more likely to get their their answers because they're connected. But yeah, there's a lot of theories and stuff surrounding this one. We'll probably dig into this quite a bit more in upcoming videos because there is definitely something to this. There's absolutely something here. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this kind of content, I make a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
A man named JD has been experiencing some paranormal activity inside his house somewhere in Chicago ever since the solar eclipse started. He says occasionally he'll hear sudden sounds around the house and sometimes finds objects to be moved when nobody is there. One day he starts hearing a strange knocking sound coming from the bathroom, and this is what he captures.
This just really been tripping me out. It's been doing this since the solar eclipse, I would say. And I don't really believe in ghosts. But this shit really with me. Look at this. It just stops. There ain't nothing going on. Look. What the What the actual Bro, there's no way. Wait, I'm gonna put light on. What the really freaking me out, y'all. If you've ever seen anything like this before, please let me know.
He can't seem to get it to stop no matter what he does, and sometimes while he's just chilling on the sofa, it starts again. So he takes his viewers' advice and uses holy water to try and put it in the bathroom.
So I've been taking some of you guys' advice. I got my holy water right here. I'm gonna insert the holy water into my water gun. Alright. And I got I'll just put it in the thing. I got the cross like you guys said, dude. I didn't really have any real wood, but see, the thing is, I don't even know if I'm actually hitting my op. Like, I feel like it's coming from over here. It don't do it when the door is closed. Like, it does not do it. I look stupid as oh my god. I need to get out the house.
After spraying the bathroom with some holy water, things get even worse, and now the knocking has turned into aggressive banging.
I see it though, right? Y'all see that though, right?
His viewers suggest that he put a camera inside the room to see what happens, and this is what it captures.
I don't get it.
The banging sound continues even though there's nothing there. JD says he's fed up with the noises and isn't sure what to do about it, nor does he have any idea what's causing it.
Alright, there's a lot of bad words I'm going to have to clip out of that one. So whenever I post a video like this showing a supposed haunting and then I discredit it and explain it away, I get a lot of comments of people asking, why do you even put this stuff in here if you don't believe in it? It's because I want to point out how easy it is to fake this stuff, because people buy into these things and freaks them out, start thinking that the world is full of evil and that everywhere you turn there's potential for a ghost or something paranormal to jump out and grab a hold of you. This stuff really messes with people's heads, and so whenever I come across something that's fake and I have a way to explain it away, there's a logical reason behind what's in the video, I can't help but put it in here and point out how I think they're pulling it off. All that being said, this is completely fake in my opinion. When the guy shows that they've gone from knocking on the bathroom door to banging on the bathroom door, there's no movement on the door, so that sound's not coming from the door. If someone was banging on the other side of that door as hard as the sound would imply, that door would be shaking violently, and it's not moving at all. So he's adding the sound in. It's just a video with sound added over it, and it's easy for him to cut it. And I'll show you an example right now. As you can see, this is my bathroom door. It's not moving at all, but you can sure hear that demon banging on the other side of it. And as soon as I open the door, oh no, magically the sound is cut out. Oh, there it goes again. What's going on? It's just editing. It's just this guy filming his bathroom door and then editing the sound over the top of the video. That's all it is.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That is not what it says in Hebrew. In Genesis 1:1, it is a mistranslation. It says, in the beginning, Elohim created the universe, or created the heavens and the earth. Elohim is God in the plural, more than one. That's why later on in Genesis 2, God says, come, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. There is the one way that we understand that. God is saying to someone, let's make a creature called man, and we'll make him to look like us or have our attributes or whatever. Or it could be saying, come, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, implying that man's already here. So someone is stepping in, intervening in our evolution and saying, let's take man and make him in our image. Now, let's fix him, because right now he's progressing, but it's going to take him another 1,000,000 years to figure out what's going on.
So this is what frustrates me about the Bible, is that there's too many different iterations or variations of it out there. And if you go back to the earliest versions of it, there are entire passages and stuff that are just completely mistranslated. And most of today's translations are translated off other mistranslated scriptures. But in regards to what this guy's saying, this sounds like the same story we get of the Anunnaki creating man, because according to this, there's more than one God in this original scripture, and they're creating man in their image when that man already exists. They're just altering his appearance, making him appear more like them. This sounds like the Anunnaki. This sounds like this was ripped straight out of the Emerald Tablets.
These NASA astronauts are now stuck in space indefinitely. Nah, I'm sorry, NASA. What have you done now? So, this launch has been meant to happen for years. Like, I'm talking years. Keeps getting delayed. There was problems with it, and it just kept getting put off with Boeing issues. And yeah, it's a Boeing. This time there was no issues. It did launch, make it to space, but then things got a bit messy. On the 25th hour of the flight, they discovered that there was helium leaks, in the thrusters, saying this thing is literally a death trap, nearly killing these poor people inside. These guys are literally stuck in space. There's no way down. Like, imagine that. This is what they're saying now, that apparently they are stuck in space for an indefinite period. Like, seriously, this is messed up. Like, genuinely, what are they gonna do? Now, of course, everybody working on this down here on Earth is trying to figure out a way to get these people back, and they're saying it's going to be at least another week or two. However, they're saying the most plausible way they're going to be able to get them home is when Elon Musk's ship goes up in August. So they're going to be stuck there for 2 months. Mate, honestly, what is going on? Make sure that follow button, I'll keep you updated.
Who in their right mind would try to go to space in something built by Boeing at this point in time? I'd be terrified to even get into that spacecraft and turn the ignition switch on. I would just assume that it would explode and kill me.
Have the Monopoly Man's monocle in my hand. I spent too much time and too much money tracking down a 1996 Waddlington Jr. Monopoly board because apparently the $2 bill has the Monopoly Man with a monocle on the man. It will open more doors than it closes because it proves that it does exist. It's not part of our imagination, but how is it wiped from almost everything on the internet, every single board game game, something is happening. Shout out to Neil, who's the world record holder for Monopoly board games owned. He owns almost 4,000, and he's gonna help me figure out if any other board games have the monocle. I truly don't believe there is a man who can better help us at this time of need than him. The last time I will absolutely lose my mind if an American says we're just confusing it with Mr. Peanuts, because America does not make up most of the world. Most of the world remembers the monocle, and Mr. Peanuts didn't even make it to the UK till 2016. I'll let you guys look first. We did it! We found the monocle.
The Fruit of the Loom girl is back, and she's single-handedly dismantling the Mandela effect phenomenon. This is the same girl that proved that the Mandela effect of Fruit of the Loom was not a Mandela effect, that we did have the cornucopia at some point. And now she's got proof that the Monopoly man did have a monocle. I tell you, it's starting to look more and more like this is some sort of a government psyop, that they're putting this misinformation out there to try to confuse us and make us think that we're all having this collective mismemory.
Wait, did Will Smith actually take his son to Diddy's house? That's weird.
Come on here.
Let me know if any of your dads try that on you.
Say it. Give us mouth. Watch Wilson. Touch me. These guys is really Carlton on television. Grab again, bend the face, and now he's gonna grab his Me too. What are you doing? It's not that funny, Carlton.
I'm with Puff, and he's in exotic bookstores, and he's doing shopping, right? He's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So this time I was up in the exotic bookstore with Puff. So, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that, because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn,
you know where this
gotta
story's
go put
going.
it on the counter, show everybody what he's getting. So
Thanks for
as he's
watching.
going,
I got a 14-year-old son, and I kiss him goodnight on the mouth every night. And it's just because I've kissed him on the mouth since he was little, and we just never stopped, so it's not weird. I wouldn't force him to kiss me on the mouth in public in front of a bunch of people, especially on TV. There's just something really off about that. I'm not watching that and thinking, oh, Will Smith is inappropriate with his kids or nothing like that, but there's definitely some weird logic going on in his head to think that that's okay to do. And him grabbing Carlton by the crotch, if that was just a regular person off the street that come up and did that to him, they would be charged with sexual assault. I tell you what, the more I hear about Will Smith and the more I see of things that he's done in his past and stuff, and some of the odd behavior and stuff he's exhibited, kind of makes me glad that his career's dwindling. Kind of makes me glad that his fan base is turning their back on him.
String theory comes along and suggests that inside these particles there is something else. So if I take a little quark and I magnify it, conventional idea says there's nothing inside, but string theory says I'll find a little tiny filament, a little filament of energy, a little string-like filament. And just like the string on a violin, I pluck it and it vibrates, creates a little musical note that I can hear. The little strings in string theory, when they vibrate, they don't produce musical notes, they produce the particles themselves. So a quark is nothing but a string vibrating in one pattern. An electron is nothing but a string vibrating in a different pattern. A neutrino, nothing but a string vibrating in a different pattern still. So if I take all of this back together, I have my ordinary orange. And if these ideas are right, they are speculative, but if they are right, deep inside the orange or any other piece of matter is nothing but a dancing, vibrating cosmic symphony of strings. That's the basic idea of string theory.
In a groundbreaking finding, astronomers have finally discovered the gravitational wave background, the big hum of the cosmos. This discovery shows us that the universe is constantly humming with a frequency of a billionth of a hertz. These gravitational waves stretch light years across and have frequencies in the range of nanohertz.
So I just put this one in here because it's absolutely fascinating. The idea that everything, when boiled down to its most basic form, is just a string or a wave or a sound a frequency. And if you understand what those frequencies are, then you can interact with that matter in a way to manipulate it or alter it or completely change it altogether. I think this is the technology that ancient civilizations were focused on, and this is the lost technology that we're missing. And we're just rediscovering it now.
99.99% of the world is empty space. If you stick with this video, you're going to learn something very cool. But the reason why it's empty space is because everything is made up of atoms. In atoms, the majority of the volume is empty space, or it's a vacuum. The difference between a solid, a liquid, a gas, it's the intensity at which something vibrates, okay? Everything in the universe is energy which vibrates at different frequencies. People often quote Nikola Tesla when he said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, you need to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So let me give you an example. The reason why people are able to break glass with their voice is because they're able to match the pitch and frequency of that glass. When you match that frequency, it begins to vibrate with such intensity that it causes that glass to break. So this is Edward Casey. He was an American clairvoyant from the 1800s. And his rabbit hole is so interesting because, yeah, there's some things he got wrong, but there's a lot of things he got right. Something he is famous for saying is the medicine of the future will be music and sound. Music and sound is obviously frequency. In the early 1900s, there was a person named Royal Rife who invented a frequency machine that he used to treat people with major illnesses like Schmancer. And that's because everything has its own unique vibrational frequency. So he hypothesized if you can match the frequency of the Schmancer, just like the glass, it would cause this intense vibration and essentially it will dismantle. He tested this on rats, and it had 100% efficacy. They tested it on human trials with 16 people in the early 1900s. 14 of them were clinically proven healed. His story is quite the rabbit hole. You should dive into it. He was essentially blacklisted from the medical community, but now in modern times, we're starting to look at the same thing, seeing that you can shatter these Schmancer cells using resonant frequencies. So this was a super interesting TED Talk. I highly recommend everybody listen to it. But if you go throughout the comments, there's a lot of people that talk about knowing doctors who use these harmonic frequency machines and people are healed from them. I am not a scientist. I am not a doctor. I am not saying this 100% works. I don't know. I'm just saying this is very interesting. Now, sounds have been used for healing practices since the beginning of time. Indigenous populations, our ancient civilizations, they all use sound as part of the healing process. It's just in the modern times, we like to prove it with science. The Earth has its own frequency called the Schumann resonance. It's 7.83 hertz, and it is known to be incredibly healing for human beings. This is why people talk about standing on the Earth barefoot, grounding. There are also frequencies called esophageal frequencies that people have found that have a huge impact on humans, whether it's awakening your consciousness, liberating your guilt and fear, removal of pain. 528 hertz is considered to be a healing frequency. So there's a study that came out of Japan where they looked at the impact of the esophageal frequency of 528 hertz, the healing frequency, to see its impact on the nervous system of human beings. Now, this study is relatively small. They only looked at 10 participants. The study out of Tokyo found was that this 528 hertz absolutely increased oxytocin, reduced stress markers. Even people that only listened to the frequency for like 5 minutes, when they tested their stress markers, they were way lower than the baseline. What is so fascinating to me is everything in you is energy and vibration. Every emotion you feel has its own unique vibration. And what we're starting to see is, yes, the data does show that you can use vibration frequency to tune your own vibration and frequency. I don't know, what do you guys think? You should try out some of these esophageal frequencies, pick one for whatever you're going for and see if it actually works for you. And then come back here and let me know.
So my favorite part of that clip was the idea that the future of medicine will be frequency and sound, and that's how we'll heal people. And this goes right back to using those frequencies to manipulate whatever matter you want to manipulate. You just have to understand what the frequency is so that you know that you're on the right wavelength. This is absolutely fascinating stuff, and again, I think this is where not only medicine is heading, but I think this is where technology in general is heading. I think that we're going to end up figuring this stuff out, but I don't think this is where technology is going to head in the mainstream. I think that it's going to be fringe scientists, armchair detectives, people like that figure this stuff out because they don't want this technology out there. They don't want it available to us. But you're going to have regular Joes out there that have a little bit of knowledge and can put things together and do a little bit of garage tinkering and come out with some new technologies and stuff, and then go through the whole process of being suspiciously unalived. And this is going to happen more and more and more. But because of the internet, we're going to hear about all of it, and eventually this technology has to just break through to the surface. You're going to get too many people questioning about why this technology is being suppressed, and people are going to start getting fed up with the idea that we can't have nothing new because it's going to hurt the economy.
One of the biggest reasons I think they whited out the skies were because of airships. Take a look at this bird's eye view drawing from 1855 of New York. This is just one of many depictions of airships long before their time. Depictions that go back thousands of years, like the flying Vimana in India. Heck, you didn't even need a mooring station for some of these airships. You could just drop a ladder. But it's not just artistic depictions we have of airships. What we do see is the infrastructure already long in place, and quite advanced tech for the day, with mooring stations being able to be put up anywhere, from the middle of nowhere, to the middle of the water, to the most cold remote place, and to many of the structures. The cities were all built for airships, with mooring stations all around. All those empty bell towers now. It is also why some of the most extravagant architecture could be built on some of the most remote areas of this realm. It is why we had detailed maps of places like Antarctica hundreds of years before they say Antarctica was discovered. It's because traveling to Antarctica on an airship would have been a breeze. But we are told one false flag grounded these ships. But in fact, I still think they're flying around today. Think of those cigar-shaped UFOs hidden high up in the skies. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
So I just thought this was an interesting theory because I've actually proposed my own theory on the channel before about why they have the whited out skies in old photos. And I thought, and still do to a degree, that it's because they don't want anyone to be able to determine a specific time of that photo being taken because they're erasing certain parts of history. So that was my theory, is that they were blocking out the sky and just painting over it with white so that you couldn't see the stars or anything else and determine exactly when the photo was taken. But if these airships were a lot more prominent than they're wanting us to believe, and they were around a lot longer than what they want us to believe, and there's so many photos of them, it looks like these things were everywhere, all over the place. So all these old photos and stuff probably would have these things in the sky, and they're trying to erase them. My only problem with this theory is that if they were going to go through all that trouble to try to erase airships out of all these photos, I would think that they would have erased all of them, unless it comes down to, you know, we don't want anyone to know that there were airships before such and such date. I just think this is an interesting theory, and anytime I hear a new theory on something like this, I just have to share it.
Hi, my name's Knox Zajac. I'm 11 years old and I go to middle school. I'm a 6th grader. I was in the library and this book was on a stand. I'd like to read you a page. My back over my hips as I asked if we should take our clothes off. And he's saying yes before I finish my sentence. He's pulling off my t-shirt, laughing when I can't undo his shirt buttons. He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his bedside drawer for a condom. We're kissing. Again, we're rolling over. Obviously, you can see where this is going. I don't know if it's because we're feeling especially emotional or just tired, or these past couple of weeks have been too much. But this reminds me so much of the first time we had sex. We were both terrified, and the whole thing was kind of terrible because we didn't know what we were doing. But it was good too, so good, because we were a mess of emotions and we were scared and excited and everything felt new. So this sort of feels like that. Nick touches me like he's scared at any minute. Now this book was at my middle school and it was on a stand. When I rented it out to show my dad it, the librarian asked if I wanted more and if I wanted a graphic novel version.
Oh boy. So I'm that kid's father.
Okay, good. I was asking for you.
Yeah, I'll take another 3 minutes. So that's my son.
Okay.
11 years old, and went to his library and found that by the entry door of our library, this is the smut that he is finding. all right? I don't care whether it's gay, straight, bisexual, whatever the terms are for all this stuff. Doesn't need to be at our school. Doesn't need to be at my 11-year-old's library. And then as far as genderqueer, I've got a son in the high school as well. And this is bullshit. We know it, all right? We do not need to be having literature that's showing boys how to suck dick.
So explain to me how you've got all these books and all these programs that have been put together that are to help grown adults get over a porn addiction, because as a society we recognize how detrimental that is to your mental health. Yet we're going to stick things into the school for children that are going to make them become obsessive with sex and help them develop a potential porn addiction. We're living in an upside-down clown world right now. And none of this is by mistake. This is all planned. It's the planned destruction of our society. But as disgusting as this video is, the only reason I put it in here is because there's so many people that think that this stuff is not going on. They see the news reports and they just think that's just a far-right talking point. They wouldn't put stuff like that in our schools. Who cares what political party is speaking the truth whenever it comes to something this serious? It doesn't matter if you're on the right or if you're on the left. What matters is this stuff is taking place and it needs to stop. And I just wanted to prove to people, show people this is taking place. This is actually happening in our school systems. And if we can't protect our kids, what good are we as a society? But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. Sorry to end on such a dark clip, but I didn't want to put it at the beginning of the video and then kids not be able to watch because it's not appropriate for young kids. But I appreciate everybody watching these video clips with me today. I hope you enjoyed them. I'll be back tomorrow with another video just like I always am. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to go to www.barry-stepp.com and order yourself a shirt or a hat. It helps me support the channel and I greatly appreciate everybody that's done so far. All that being said, I hope everybody has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day and I will see you tomorrow.